Hello friend, I am Naren, your host. I am back with another video. In this video we're gonna talk about Terraform Provisioners. What is Terraform Provisioner? Terraform Provisioner, a way to allow Terraform to execute command on the local machine or remote resource after it created. Provisioners are often used for bootstrapping servers, installing packages, pushing configuration files, running final setup script. Meaning, if you have any requirement where you launch the resource and after launching the resources in AWS, you want to install some package, you want to copy some configuration from your local machine to the remote machine, or if you want to execute any script that you want to run before you actually using the instance. For example, let's say we create an instance and you want to deploy a, you want to install Docker on that instance before you actually running your CI/CD process. So provisioners will help you to install those kind of stuffs. In general, Terraform document is not recommend you to use provisioner. Instead of provisioners, you can use other configuration tools like Ansible, Puppet. Since provisioners are is just for developed for to configure small things, but if you have a heavy workflow, heavy workload to execute, then it's recommended you to use another configuration tool. And this is why many people are confusing between Terraform and Ansible. Some people are getting confused like both are the configuration tool, but actually Terraform is the provisioning tool and Ansible is the configuration tool. So configuration means after you launching all the resource you want to execute something, but Terraform is provide this feature just for the small workaround for some few packages that you want to install, or maybe copy one or two configuration file just for the quick setup. Otherwise it's not recommend you to use provisioners. But since Terraform have this feature, so we have to discuss about this feature. So there are few types of provisioners available in the Terraform. First one is the local-exec. This type of provisioner will help you execute some setup or some configuration on your local machine. Then we have the file provisioner. If you want to copy a file from local machine to the remote machine, then you can use the file provisioner. And we have the remote-exec. This is nothing but if you want to do some kind of configuration on the remote machine, you can use remote-exec. Of course we will see remote-exec example on the demo session. Now let's talk about the local-exec. Run a command locally on the machine running Terraform. Like the machine you are running the Terraform command, you can execute some configuration using the local-exec provisioner. Provisioner are added inside a resource block. So as I put in the example on the PPT itself, so let's say I have a code for launching an instance. Here is my server, I'm giving the AMI. Of course this is not the valid AMI ID, but this is just for an example. I put a AMI ID. Instance type is T2 micro, and T2 micro is the great fit because it's common. T2 micro you can launch the instance free on the free trial. Now then it's come to the provisioner, and then we have a provisioner sections. In that we are using local-exec and we are running a command. When you are after launching the server, you can run a command on the local machine, and this command will print server created self.public. Self.public IP is means like self is representing my server and you will get the public IP address of the instance. So this is for the local-exec type. Now let's take a look about the remote exe. This will help you to run command remotely on your resource over SSH or WinRM. If you are creating a Ubuntu or Mac instance, then go for the SSH. Window, you can use WinRM. Provisioner are added inside the resource block, of course. Since we are performing any operation on the remote host or remote instance, we have to connect this instance before running the provisioner section. So in the remote exe, you have to be provide a connection, and in that connection you have to specify the connection methods. In this case we are using like type SSH. If you are on Windows, you can add WinRM and user Ubuntu private key that we will generate it from the code, and you can use that code, that private key, and host name, of course you can get it from the self public IP from this server. And then you have to specify your provisioner with the remote exe and inline is it's kind of the list element where each item executes sequentially. So in this case I added two elements. So sudo apt get update will initialize first, and then we are installing nginx on our newly created instance. And the file type is another type of provision where you want to upload file or directory to a remote resource. Of course we talking about the remote resource, so you have to provide a connection parameter, and then you have specified the provisioner file. You have to provide the source file that you want to copy from local to destination. So destination should be your remote location. Make sure the remote location is exist. So that's why I'm putting here the temp. The temp folder is always exist whenever you are creating the instance. Control provision execution, and the provisioners are also have a very good options where you can control the execution of your provisioners. Sometimes there is a possibility that you have failed the execution, so whether you want to continue or you want to not, or you want to fail the operation where it gets stopped. So to control provisioners appears here like when and on failure. So when is more like a condition, like when to perform the provisioner action. So let's say when you create an instance, I want to execute two inline command or two inline configuration that I want to install, and if there is any problem or if any failure occur, I want to continue without any error. So that is all means about control execution provisioner. Okay, it's demo time. So let's go to the demo, and to see the demo we have to go to Visual Studio Code. In the Visual Studio Code I already created a brand new project called provisioners. In the project we have main.tf, output.tf file, and provider.tf file. If you have watched my all other previous video, you are familiar with this structure. In this video we are not gonna talk about all the file details, but I will give you an overview. In the main.tf file we are creating one VPC, and then we are creating security group, and also creating a private key, and then at last we are launching an instance. And the AMI ID we are getting from data resource, where we are filtering Ubuntu Jamie. This will filter this AMI and give us a return a AMI ID to us. So this is very simple code, and here in the launch instance resource we have all the parameter for the instance. Apart from that, I will also I specified the connection parameters, where you can see I creating the IASC key.pim. Initially you can see there is no key exist on the path because the key will be created dynamically. So the best way here to avoid the error, we can create a key. So let's say IASC underscore key.pim and keep it empty. This way you will not get an error, and when our resource will get created, the key will get initialized is to value, and then we will finally use this value. And I am also using the control execution, like using the when condition, and on failure what action we have to do. And here is the inline code, inline configuration that we are supposed to be executing. So let's move to the command prompt where we can running the Terraform command. Now let's say Terraform init. This will set up your backend, and this is actually we have to go to the provisioner directory and then run the Terraform init command. Now this will initialize the backend first, and then after the backend it will be download the AWS provider plugin, and the download has been done successfully. So now we are able to run the Terraform plan command. Terraform plan, and the plan will give you the high level overview of all the resource that is going to be created. After this command we are supposed to be run Terraform apply command. Okay, so the Terraform plan command has been executed successfully, and you can see we are going to create 14 resource on our AWS account. So you can, if you want to see the detail, you can go for detail and understand what are the resource you are going to create it. But basically we are creating VPC and related to all the resource for that VPC, and we are setting a security group, creating a key pair, and then launch the instance. So now let's run the Terraform apply with the flag auto approve. Auto approve flag should not be started with the 2 dash, 1 dash is should enough. What's wrong? Auto spelling is wrong. Approve. What? Flag provided but not defined. Okay, flag auto approve. Okay, the spelling is wrong. So now the Terraform apply command is start executing. For those of you who are not familiar, Terraform apply will run the plan first and then creating all the resources. Now we are creating the VPC and related all the resources for that specific VPC, and we also configure the security group, you can see here, and then we are launching the instance. It is saying it's still creating, the instance is creating. Now you can see we are executing our provisioner here. So you can see here key pair success, creating instance, creating, and then you can see here remote-exec is a start. We are trying to connect the remote host, and there is a possibility that you may encounter multiple try on the connect section, because the instance after we launch it's not ready yet. So we are give multiple try after sleep a bit, and then once the instance is ready to connect, we will connect to the instance and execute our provisioners. So you can see right now on the log, you can see we are having a remote execution, provisioner is executing. So let's wait for some minute and then it will be okay. Here you can see we successfully connected to our instance, and then it will be start running the command. The first command is like a update command, and we are updating the package, and then it will be all related to the update package, and then we still creating. And then we are still creating a reading package list, and it will be read all the package, and the package installation done. It will be give the output here, and then we supposed to be pre-configuration, fetching Jimmy and selected package, Preparing, updating is done. Now scanning process, and now we are running the setting up the ngx, so it will be taking some sort of time, and then after it's done we have successfully completed 14 resource successfully added. So this is all about the provisional. I suggest you for the local exe and the file is you can try and let me know in the comment whether if you are success or not. So let's destroy our resource that has been created. We don't want to keep our resource running it because it costs money. So it's always be best practice after you run your script, and if you have no use for the resource, always destroy them. So we are now destroying all our 14 resource that has been added by us recently, and it will be deleting everything. As you can see, we have created the file, the key file also has been deleted. That's fine, and it's still destroying. The instance will take a bit time to destroy the instance, and after it destroying, and we will also try to destroy the VPC related resources, and then finally we destroy the VPC. So all the resource has been successfully destroyed. That's all for this video, and if you are new to my channel, I strongly recommend and request that you can like my channel, subscribe my channels, and write your view, your suggestion in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.